I'm still in a state of shock. Can't believe it's surreal.
A home torn apart when a tornado claims 2 lives in Howard County. Plus, waters are rising and flooding only getting worse in rivers and on roadways. Then, hashtag #BeyondEleven, your extreme weather photos from across Arkansas. The news starts now.
Now, from Arkansas's News and Information Center, this is THV 11 News at 6.
An EF2 tornado, straight line winds, and now flooding, claiming homes and lives. I'm Craig O'Neill, and deadly storms, our top story tonight.
I'm Dawn Scott. Arkansans across more than half a dozen counties picking up the pieces today. We have had our crews out since 2 o'clock this morning, finding damage from Franklin County down to Howard County.
We're going to start our THV 11 team coverage in Nashville with Dan Grossman. Dan?
Yeah, guys, good evening. Right now, I'm standing on what used to be a mobile home, but as you take a look around, there are no more mobile homes in this little swath here in Nashville. As you said, Craig, an EF2 tornado with winds up to 125 miles per hour. Many people still assessing the damage and trying to put their pieces back together one at a time.
I'm looking at it every night. I don't even know where to start now.
Monday was difficult.
I am so glad that this stuff like this is still intact.
Because as Linda Pertel sifted through what was left of this mobile home,
Well, considering that Melissa was like a daughter to me,
she couldn't help but remember
I don't know. I'm still in a state of shock.
the woman and friend
Can't believe it's surreal.
it all belonged to.
A lot of the blankets that we found are blankets that she made for her daughter.
That daughter, a 1-year-old infant, is the only one that made it out of this mix of metal and memories alive. Her mother and Linda's friend, Melissa, and her 29-year-old husband, Michael, the reason she survived.
I think they were kind of together and trying to protect the child.
Family and friends say the two huddled over their toddler, shielding her from debris when they were swept away, along with the remnants of their home, killing the couple but leaving their daughter unharmed.
Yeah, you hate to see that, you know. I mean, people lose all they have, and people lose family members, and yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, she's worried about my uncle.
Dorlise Rodriguez is also trying to navigate the heaps of debris. That's her aunt in the background, picking up photos of her 3 children and husband, who all lay in the hospital.
I was really worried, and thank God they're all okay, though.
Pictures, photo albums, that's what I was mainly after.
As every family in this small community searches for their own way to overcome.
I want to try to repair anything that I can.
Now I spoke with Michael Mooneyhan's stepfather, and obviously he was very distraught about this whole situation, but he was telling me how they're going to take in that granddaughter and care for her. They live about a few miles away from here, and they said that she is going to be in very good hands. As for the 6 other people taken to the hospital, they are all expected to make a full recovery. Reporting live in Howard County, Dan Grossman. Guys, back to you.
Oh, heartbreaking. Dan, thank you. Water rescues keeping Yell County emergency responders busy today. Rising rivers causing growing flooding concerns there tonight.
And THV 11's Phil Buck live along the Arkansas River in Dardanelle tonight. Phil?
Well, Craig and Dawn, you're right. Rising river levels are the concern here in Yell County and have been since late last night because of all the rain that fell in Oklahoma and in western Arkansas. It is now all making its way down the Arkansas River waterway, and it is causing a lot of problems along the river. We have seen the level of the river come up even a few feet since we've been here today. It has prompted flooding in parts of the area and also, as you mentioned, a few water rescue operations. This video is from Major Leon Lane of the Yell County Mounted Patrol, who helped save 4 Arkansas Tech International students Sunday night when their car was caught in the floodwaters.
And their car was swept away. We got there, 4 young ladies sitting on top of the car, and you can only see about 6 inches of the roof of the car.
It was absolutely just nick of the time. The Lord definitely had his hand down there around those girls. If any little thing had gone different, you would have been looking at 4 body recoveries as opposed to a successful rescue.
By midday, neighbors started flocking to viewpoints along the river to survey the flood for themselves.
It's up tremendously from about 9 o'clock this morning. We live about 2 blocks from the river, so if it gets up a whole lot, then it's going to start coming into the city.
I haven't seen it this high in probably back since the late 1980s. This chain link fence right here, that's the top of a 20-foot tall backstop on a Little League field, just to get an idea how deep the water is.
And after seeing firsthand how dangerous these floods can be, Lane has a word of advice for anyone thinking of taking a chance.
Turn around, don't drown. It's it's really not worth your life. If you don't have to call into work, don't go to work. If you have to call your kids into school, don't send them to school. It's not worth your life. Wait a day or two, let the waters recede.
Now, this has been the talk of the town here in Dardanelle all day. We have seen streams of people, and they are continuing to come here to get a look at the rising river levels. Meanwhile, the Army Corps of Engineers says they expect the river level to keep going up at least into tonight, possibly even into tomorrow. So we are not out of the woods yet. And this had an effect even ahead of the storm. Lane told me that their annual Yell Fest had to be cut short over the weekend. They told everybody to pack up and leave on Saturday because of the rising flood levels. Dawn and Craig.
All right, Phil Buck, thank you. In Clark County today, neighbors are digging out from homes and streets covered in downed trees and power lines.
State Road 51 in Arkadelphia took the brunt of a storm that passed through around 3 this morning, and THV 11's Laura Monteverdi gives us a look at the damage in Clark County.
So you can see the roots of this tree here. That was an enormous, enormous oak tree.
It's the hardest part for longtime Arkadelphia resident Frances Korn.
This tree right here was so shady. Oh.
Her yard, once covered with tall, shady oak trees, now a mess of tree limbs and broken branches.
The house seems to be okay. I have no broken windows. I don't have any holes. I probably have some wind damage.
Her husband out of town. She was alone in her home Monday morning when the storm whipped through Arkadelphia, taking down trees, then creating a clear path of destruction along State Road 51.
As it started getting lighter, I could notice out the front windows, I thought all the trees were gone.
Ripped from the ground and strewn across her lawn, even blocking off her driveway from the main road. And the damage can be seen all down State Road 51.
We've got trees down everywhere. Part of our barn's over in the field.
High winds tore the roof off Emily Hutton's barn. A twisted mess of metal now litters her backyard.
We had all this cleaned up. We were ready to start a garden and start planting new stuff, and it's just destroyed. It's gone.
That was Laura Monteverdi reporting. Power crews have been working throughout the day to restore power to that area.
Residents are confident it was a tornado that caused this damage, but the National Weather Service is not investigating it. Ed?
Or I should say, at least we have not heard yet that they're planning a trip down there. We will let you know, of course, if they do and determine what exactly caused that. Right now, we've got a much better forecast for you. Things are quieting down. Skies are trying to clear. I say trying to because they're having difficulty. Still some clouds across central, southern, and eastern parts of the state, but some clearing taking place to the northwest where drier air and cooler air has moved in. It's 65 in Fayetteville, 67 in Harrison, mainly in the 70s just about everywhere else. 79 currently down in Arkadelphia. 57 degrees will be our low temperature tonight with some clearing expected. Tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy. Again, a little bit of sun. At least it's not going to rain. 78 the expected high. So maybe a day or two to begin to dry out before more rain in the forecast. So rivers will continue to rise, at least for the time being. We'll have that forecast coming up.
All right, thank you, Ed. The heavy rains changed the meaning of the term lakefront property for many living on Lake Hamilton. Boat docks rose and gangplanks sank as the Garland County Lake filled up overnight. Energy Arkansas manages the dams on lakes there, and they say Hamilton peaked at 401.48 feet. Lake Catherine hit 305.72. Both are lower after releasing about 29 million gallons of water per minute for most of the day through Carpenter and Rimmel dams.
Well, the heavy rains also swelled the creeks and rivers that feed into Lake Maumelle. That is in Perry County. Surprising longtime riverfront residents who say it's never been this bad before. Rolly Hoyt has the story.
We're right along the Big Maumelle River, and that's Highway 9 right there. You can see by this matted grass how high the water got this Monday morning. For anybody living alongside this creek, it was a wet day.
That far below the siding on the house.
Plenty of it. Lost a bunch of stuff.
The water was about this high underneath our porch.
Right here.
These are all people who went to bed last night listening to the falling rain and found rushing rivers this morning. The flooding surprised them. For the first time in years, Sharon Bailey couldn't get off her family's property because this creek washed out a bridge.
But I've never seen it like this. The creek floods a little bit. We walk across the swinging bridge to get home. We do all right, you know, but today it was crazy. It was like Niagara Falls.
About a mile away, more family right on the river, worried about debris sweeping their deck away.
We got a spur dike right there that turns it when it's down lower, but this time it will come right over the spur dike.
Hawkins built on this riverside spot in 1965. His wife expects it to drain. He remains concerned. In Perry County, Rolly Hoyt, THV 11 News.
Thank you, Rolly. And just to the south, the Bryant School District had to suspend bus service because of flooded roads. The main concern came in Perrin, where the North Fork of the Saline River and Cypress Creek made some bus routes too dangerous. The district made the call after bus drivers reported trouble spots. The district said in a statement, any students who arrived late because the bus did not pick them up will not be penalized.
And on the other side of Russellville in Johnson County, a landslide today. It happened along one of Arkansas's busiest interstates, I-40.
Well, the State Highway Department shut down part of the westbound lane while crews responded. No one was hurt when the mud and trees slid onto the interstate tonight. All lanes are back open.
And over the border in Texas, at least 3 people dead in the same storm system that tore through Arkansas. At least 8 people are still missing there.
A powerful tornado slammed into the small town of Van, about 70 miles southeast of Dallas. Officials say a third of the homes there are destroyed.
Now, voters in 2 central Arkansas counties are headed to the polls tomorrow. We're going to tell you why.
Plus, the missing buffalo saga in Hot Springs comes to a tragic end.
Oh my gosh, how are we going to get her out?
Emergency responders had to save a woman from the rising Mulberry River this morning. That's in Franklin County. Deputies say a woman was trying to drive across Highway 23 near Turner Bend when she got stuck.
You know, it's flooded across the highway about 4 foot above the road here. And when she attempted to come across the road here, the water just got so deep, her car died on her and she just stalled out and she was stuck.
Homeowners who called 911 said it was only a matter of minutes before water entered her car and crews were able to rescue the woman with a 6-wheel drive wrecker.
Such a dangerous night. It could have been much worse, I had the feeling. So, you know, unfortunately, we did have a loss of life in our state, but with that flooding at night, very, very dangerous situation. Thankfully, things are now a little bit better, but the flooding still continues, especially along area rivers. More on that in a minute. Let's start you off with some rainfall totals. As of 7 o'clock this morning, Danville officially had picked up 5.5 inches, one of the higher totals that I've seen. Radar estimates anywhere between 6 and 7 in some places, but officially, these are the official numbers in the rain gauge for 24 hours ending at 7. Jasper, 4.5. Clarksville, a little bit over 4. Waldron, Mountain View, a little over 3.5 inches of rain. Now, this is a map showing area rivers, and the black triangles, and there are a bunch of them, you have to look for them, are all indicating Arkansas rivers that are above flood stage. One of them, of course, the Saline River. This is the Saline River at Benton, where the flood stage is 18 feet, and earlier today it was observed at over 20.7 feet. So much higher than it needs to be, and of course it's only going to rise as these watersheds continue to funnel water downstream. This is the Arkansas River at Dardanelle, the flood stage 32 feet, and earlier today 36.25 feet. That was at 3 o'clock. Let's take a live shot and listen to this. That is just incredible. At the dam there at Dardanelle, as the Arkansas River flows downstream. I hear the flooding could be even worse tonight down toward Morrilton. So that's what we're talking. Looks like 4 to 6 foot waves there on the river. All right, back to the graphics. Again, the river flooding will continue. This is pretty normal after an event like we saw last night. For the next several days, the rivers will only rise. So got to keep that in mind, especially for livestock, cattle that may be along the riverbanks. 80 degrees our high today, 73 in North Little Rock, 79 is the average, so we were real close to that. Since midnight, Little Rock picked up 1.66, but over the past 2 days, we've picked up close to 3 and 4 inches of rain in central Arkansas alone. 75 currently, dew points at 63, wind northwest at 13. Some drier air is trying to work in. It's having some difficulty, and we're still kind of cloudy. So all in all, at least it's not raining, and I think that's the best thing we can ask for right now. No more rain. 73 in Hot Springs, 71 in Russellville, 73 Clinton, 74 currently in Searcy. Very mild air in place, but the drier air is back in the Ozarks. Now here's the forecast. It still shows cloudy skies. It's kind of a hard time getting rid of this cloud cover. By Wednesday, look at what happens. The return flow sets back up. Showers and storms develop from the Gulf, move into Texas and Oklahoma. Low pressure comes out of the Rockies, and that's going to bring this rain back into the state of Arkansas. That's late Wednesday, early Thursday. So we are not out of the woods just yet. Unfortunately, we can't get a nice stretch here of dry weather. It doesn't appear like we can anyway. 56 tonight in Benton, 55 in Conway and Searcy, 48 in Mountain Home. Some cooler air up there. Highs tomorrow back up into the middle 70s, 73 in Hot Springs, 73 over in Stuttgart. So tonight, partly cloudy skies and a low near 57. Tomorrow, we'll see a high of 78 under mostly cloudy conditions. So not raining, but at least we're not seeing a lot of sunshine, but we will have a day to dry out. 40% late Wednesday, 60% the chance of rain as it returns into Thursday as well. Back to you.
All right, Ed, thanks. Well, the search for that last rogue buffalo is officially over in Hot Springs. The sixth and final buffalo that was on the loose was found dead yesterday. The farm owner says it was found lying in a corral. City officials say the corral was stocked with food in an effort to attract the animal. However, when the owner went to check for her, she was dead. The 3 buffalo who survived the ordeal are being relocated to Hot Spring County.
State lawmakers asked to return to the Capitol. Up next, why Governor Hutchinson is calling them back for a special session.
And the University of Arkansas at Little Rock is expanding. A look at the school's new expansion, plus why the school is also making major cuts. Coming up. Tomorrow, voters in the Pulaski County Special School District and the Hot Springs School District will decide on possible millage increases. PCSSD wants a $5.6 million increase. Hot Springs looking for a $2 million increase. If approved, this money would be used for renovations in both districts and for a new school in Pulaski County. Arkansas lawmakers returned to work sooner than expected. Governor Asa Hutchinson wants legislators' approval of a, quote, super project. They'll consider an incentive package that will help Lockheed Martin's Camden facility. Hutchinson says it can bring almost 600 jobs and secure more than 1,000 jobs during the project. He'll make his official call later this month. This session is set for May the 26th.
ULR is making more than $2 million in cuts. This comes after a constant drop in student enrollment and revenue. No word on how it will affect current students and teachers. In a statement released today, Chancellor Joel Anderson said, while we are hopeful that the enrollment picture will begin to turn around this fall, we are well prepared to manage our financial challenges. The cuts are set to take effect July 1st. Well, despite these cuts, UALR plans to open its newest building in the fall of 2017. It's a $20 million grant that will help pay for the visual arts education facility. The building will place UALR's fine arts classes under one roof. It's the second largest gift in the university's history.
After 2 decades, the UCA softball team celebrating best year yet in program history.
Mary Dunleavy, we're all smiles today for UCA.
Yeah. I know, a great day for the UCA Bears. The Southland Conference champions are heading to the NCAA tournament for the first time in program history. First up, Oklahoma. They have to pull the upset, but I think they got this. All that and more coming up. Sunday night's announcement made it official for the UCA softball team. The Bears are heading to their first ever NCAA tournament. They'll take on the Oklahoma Sooners in the Norman Regional on Friday at 3 p.m. UCA captured the Southland Conference tournament with the upset win over Northwestern State, and they hope to pull another upset against the Sooners.
I would be speechless. It would be the most amazing thing that you could dream of as a child. Like, it would be so great, you know, just for everyone, like for our coaches, you know, for like the school. We went out there and upset Oklahoma, and wow.
Good stuff. The 20th ranked Arkansas baseball team is set for a midweek tilt with Creighton on Tuesday night. The Razorbacks have not dropped an SEC series over the last 7 weekends. They've taken down Ole Miss, Auburn, Kentucky, top-ranked Texas A&M, Mississippi State, and Alabama while splitting a 2-game set with Tennessee. Today, they start a 2-week road trip. They'll play Creighton in Nebraska, then hit the East Coast to play Georgia, then head down to Hoover, Alabama for the SEC tournament.
It should be fun. I don't know. It'd be fun to get to hang out with the guys more. And, like, since we're out of school, all we can do is just focus on baseball, which is kind of what we came here for, but it's gonna be fun. I feel like if we get on a good streak and take that into postseason play, it'll help us a lot.
To the big leagues, it is likely that former Razorback Drew Smiley will need season-ending surgery for his persistent shoulder issues. Smiley missed the first 3 weeks of the season after he was diagnosed with tendonitis in his throwing shoulder. He made his first start about 2 weeks ago and was placed on the disabled list after complaining of stiffness in his shoulder. UALR's new head basketball coach, Chris Beard, finally announced his staff today. North Little Rock native Wes Flanagan is returning home to be an assistant coach. He's the son of legendary Parkview coach Al Flanagan and spent 4 years at Auburn, earning all SEC honors. Flanagan spent 4 seasons as a UALR assistant back in 2004 to 2008. He is returning home after coaching stops at UAB, Nebraska, and most recently, Mississippi State. The Trojans won at least 18 games in 3 of Flanagan's 4 seasons at UALR. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Team coverage continues. Dozens of trees down across Clark County, making for a tough cleanup for homeowners today. Plus, docks turning into islands and backyards into swamps. A look at extreme flooding along Arkansas lakes coming up. Thanks for watching THV 11 News at 6. A second half hour of news and weather starts now.
Now, the difference in news and information in Arkansas. THV 11 News at 6:30.
Arkansans across more than half a dozen Arkansas counties started their work week with major cleanup. You're watching a second half hour of news at 6:30. Thank you for joining us.
An EF2 tornado, along with straight line winds and now flooding, claiming homes and lives across our state. And we've had THV 11 crews out since the storms blew through the state overnight. We begin our team coverage in Howard County with Dan Grossman. He's live in Nashville. And what is the latest there, Dan?
Craig and Dawn, good evening. It's pretty much been the same story all day. Families in this little mobile park neighborhood trying to get all of their pieces back together. These concrete steps, pretty much the only thing that remains of these mobile homes. And you can hear the roar of chainsaws in the back. People trying to cut up trees, find belongings, and put their lives back together piece by piece.
I'm looking at it every night. I don't even know where to start now.
Monday was difficult.
I am so glad that this stuff like this is still intact.
Because as Linda Pertel sifted through what was left of this mobile home.
Well, considering that Melissa was like a daughter to me.
She couldn't help but remember.
I don't know. I'm still in a state of shock.
The woman and friend.
Can't believe it's real.
It all belonged to.
A lot of the blankets that we found are blankets that she made for her daughter.
That daughter, a 1-year-old infant, is the only one that made it out of this mix of metal and memories alive. Her mother and Linda's friend, Melissa, and her 29-year-old husband, Michael, the reason she survived.
I think they were kind of together and trying to protect the child.
Family and friends say the two huddled over their toddler, shielding her from debris when they were swept away, along with the remnants of their home, killing the couple but leaving their daughter unharmed.
Yeah, you hate to see that, you know. I mean, people lose all they have, and people lose family members, and yeah, that's tough.
Pictures, photo albums, that's what I was mainly after.
And their community searching for ways to overcome.
I want to try to repair anything that I can.
Now, I spoke with Michael Mooneyhand's stepfather earlier, and he was telling me that they will be taking care of their granddaughter, saying she is in good hands and that she is doing all right. She did not sustain any injuries. 6 other people did sustain injuries. They were taken to area hospitals, 2 of them with serious injuries, but they are all expected to make a full recovery. Reporting live in Howard County, Dan Grossman, Craig and Dawn, back to you.
All right, Dan, thanks. Late this afternoon, Governor Asa Hutchinson toured that damage in Nashville.
Nothing more real than seeing it personally, and it certainly takes a smile off your face when you see the tragedy.
He also announced emergency funding for 10 counties dealing with flooding and tornado damage.
Governor Hutchinson says the declaration will help them get a feel for dollar amount needed to clean up the damage. The governor says more counties may be added to this declaration.
And for the next several days, flooding will be a major concern. It wasn't a tornado causing damage in Yell County.
And that is where flooding has now become the major concern. THV 11's Phil Buck has been there along the Arkansas River all day. And tell us the latest, Phil.
Dawn and Craig, you're absolutely right. Flooding is the major concern and will continue to be the main concern here in Yell County, at least into tomorrow and probably beyond that. As you said, we're here along the Arkansas River right outside the Dardanelle Dam. This has been really an angry river, to put it mildly. The white caps are huge, the waves are huge, and this has been the talk of the town, literally, for everyone that we've come across today. We've seen ourselves the river levels rise a couple feet since we've been here, and there have also been a number of water rescue operations because of the flooding. This video is from Major Leon Lane of the Yell County Mounted Patrol, who helped save 4 Arkansas Tech International students Sunday night when their car was caught in the floodwaters.
And their car was swept away. We got there, 4 young ladies sitting on top of the car, and you can only see about 6 inches of the roof of the car.
It was absolutely just nick of the time. The Lord definitely had his hand down there around those girls. If any little thing had gone different, you would have been looking at 4 body recoveries as opposed to a successful rescue.
By midday, neighbors started flocking to viewpoints along the river to survey the flood for themselves.
It's up tremendously from about 9 o'clock this morning. We live about 2 blocks from the river, so if it gets up a whole lot, then it's going to start coming into the city.
I haven't seen it this high in probably back since the late 1980s. This chain link fence right here, that's the top of a 20-foot tall backstop on a Little League field, just to get an idea how deep the water is.
And we told you how everybody in town has been talking about how high the water is today. This is a look, literally, this is what it's been like all day throughout Dardanelle. This number of people all coming out. It has been a steady stream of people coming out just to see for themselves not only how high the water is, but really how violently it is coming through the dam here. And one other thing, we're being urged by Lane and a number of other authorities here not to push your luck. If you do come across any roadways that are covered with water, do not try to cross them. That's how some of those people got into situations where they need to be rescued last night. He says if you need to call into work, don't try to go to work. If you need to keep your kids out of school, do that. Do whatever you need to do to keep your family safe until the water recedes. Dawn and Craig.
All right, Phil, thanks. High winds caused heavy damage in Clark County early this morning.
Down trees, down power lines in and around Arkadelphia from when the storms blew through Clark County overnight. And THV 11's Laura Monteverde gives us a look at the damage.
So you can see the roots of this tree here. That was an enormous, enormous oak tree.
It's the hardest part for longtime Arkadelphia resident Frances Korn.
This tree right here was so shady. Oh.
Her yard, once covered with tall, shady oak trees, now a mess of tree limbs and broken branches.
The house seems to be okay. I have no broken windows. I don't have any holes. I probably have some wind damage.
Her husband out of town. She was alone in her home Monday morning when the storm whipped through Arkadelphia, taking down trees, then creating a clear path of destruction along State Road 51.
As it started getting lighter, I could notice out the front windows, I thought all the trees were gone.
Ripped from the ground and strewn across her lawn, even blocking off her driveway from the main road. But it wasn't until a phone call to her husband that the reality of what happened truly sank in.
I said, I hate to tell you good morning like this, but we have a real big mess.
Laura Monteverde reporting. Power crews have been working throughout the day to restore power to that area.
And residents are confident it was a tornado that caused this damage, but the National Weather Service is not investigating it.
Happy to report things are much better tonight weather-wise. Skies have been slow to clear. However, we are beginning to see the end of the rainfall across the state. Here's a look at your evening planner headed out and about. 73 at 8, 70 by 10, and dropping into the upper 60s by midnight. And again, the clouds are going to be slow to go away. So we're going to keep it worded partly to mostly cloudy this evening. Same thing tomorrow, but no rain. Now by Wednesday, the rain chances do come back. We'll have that forecast for you coming up.
Right, Ed, thank you. The heavy rains changed the meaning of lakefront property for a lot of people on Lake Hamilton. Boat docks rose and gangplanks sank as the Garland County Lake filled up overnight. Energy Arkansas manages the dams on lakes there, and they say Lake Hamilton peaked at 401.48 feet and Lake Catherine hit 305.72. Both are lower after releasing about 29 million gallons of water per minute for most of the day through Carpenter and Rimmel dams.
The storm's even taking a toll on drinking water for some Arkansans. Families living in the Crystal Springs area are now under a boil order. Flooding near Lake Ouachita wiped out a water main there, affecting several homes. The health department will lift the order when test results improve, and that could be sometime tomorrow.
Well, it's a promise you likely saw in TV ads when Governor Hutchinson campaigned last year.
We're talking computer sciences. He said he wanted the courses taught to all Arkansas students, and that time has come. How lawmakers are making it happen next. Governor Hutchinson traveling the state promoting his new law requiring all Arkansas high schools teach computer science.
Lance Turner with Arkansas Business explains the next steps of implementing the measure.
Craig and Dawn, expanding computer science courses in Arkansas was a key part of Asa Hutchinson's campaign for governor last year. That pledge came to fruition with the passage of House Bill 1183, which established the mandate starting with the school year that begins in August. But in the run-up to the law taking effect, the governor and Arkansas educators face a big obstacle, a shortage of teachers qualified to lead those computer courses. To supply schools with qualified teachers, the State Department of Education has developed its first computer science test for teachers, which it will provide for any teacher starting next month. The department is providing the test through the law's $5 million budget. A licensed teacher who passes the test will be eligible to teach one of 4 computer science courses, including an Essentials of Computer Programming class. Teachers who don't pass could still receive a provisional certificate, which would allow them to teach a class while preparing to take the test again next summer. Teachers can prepare for the test through free week-long training sessions here in Arkansas. Meanwhile, school districts that can't field a qualified computer science teacher will be able to use Virtual Arkansas to educate students. Virtual Arkansas is an online teaching program already in use throughout the state. In the end, the governor wants Arkansas to be ready to supply what he sees as a growing need for skilled computer science workers. Craig and Dawn, the governor wants Arkansas to be in prime position to help fill an estimated 1 million computer science-related jobs by the year 2020.
All right, thank you, Lance. Ed Buckner has your extended outlook and your forecast next.
Well, other than the isolated tornado that we know about, 3 to 6 inch rainfall amounts were pretty much the average across a good part of the state, causing flash flooding last night and today causing river flooding. And we're going to talk more about that in just a moment because area rivers are just going nuts with the heavy rain trying to get downstream. I wanted to show you this water vapor imagery. One thing to point out, the dry air behind the cold front tried to make it into central Arkansas. The cold front actually is still held up in the Ozark Mountains. It has not pushed through yet, and now overrunning moisture, high cloudiness moving over the frontal boundary, just not getting a big push from west to east. And the upper dynamics are here swirling across the Great Lakes. So I would like to say sky's going to totally clear out. It's going to cool off and we're going to see sunshine tomorrow, but that's not the case because this flow of moisture looks to be pretty dominant coming out of the subtropical jet. And I would expect that to pretty much be the main player in our forecast for the next 24 to 36 hours. I do expect cloud cover, but no rain, at least not just yet. Tonight, for your first pitch forecast, 73 degrees at Dickey-Stevens Park as Travs open up a new homestand. Winds northwest at 7 miles an hour. 75 degrees currently, dew point's 63. Northwest winds at 13. So the front trying to move in, but the air is just not drying out, and the skies are not clearing yet. Humidity 66%, the pressure's high at 30.04. You can clearly see where the temperatures are much cooler. 65 Fayetteville, 67 in Harrison, 71 in Russellville, but it's 75 here, 78 still Lone Oak. Hazen, you're at 79. It's 78 in Sheridan, Benton, 79 in Malvern as well. So we'll keep the clouds around from central and southern Arkansas for the next day or two, but no rain expected until we get toward Wednesday. Look what happens Wednesday. That return flow sets back up and moisture streams into Texas and Oklahoma, low pressure coming out of the Rockies, and that'll aid to some pretty decent rain chances coming up Wednesday late into early Thursday. So we're just not done with the rain just yet. Tonight, partly cloudy and 57 for your low. 78 tomorrow. not a bad day, but it's not totally sunny. But at least a day to begin the drying out process. And here's that extended outlook. It shows that rain chance, Craig, coming back into play Wednesday, Thursday, maybe some stronger storms again next weekend as well. We're in a very unsettled pattern.
And you were telling us about this. Phil Buck was in Dardanelle looking at those raging floodwaters on the Arkansas River, and you have to worry about what's happening downstream.
That's right. That's why we sent Kevin Traeger to Morrilton to see what's going on down there, and here's his report.
I'm Kevin Traeger here on Cherokee Road in Morrilton. You can see the road is completely flooded out, and we're still about a quarter of a mile away from the Arkansas River. Now, the National Weather Service tells us the river will be at its highest point here in Morrilton later this evening. It's actually expected to crest here tomorrow morning at 37.5 feet, which we're told is the highest the river's been here in Morrilton in 25 years. We also spoke with some neighbors along the river here who say they're extremely concerned about flooding as the water continues to rise.
Then it just kept on rising up, All the levees went underwater, and now it's to the point where I can almost fish off this back porch dock here.
Coming up at 10, we'll have a live report from the river right here in Morrilton.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. And I'm sure at 10 o'clock the river will be higher. It's just going to rise for the next probably 2 to 3 days before any kind of receding takes place.
And that's not the only river. You know,
No.
There are others to watch here, and even the smallest stream can be a big problem. Something to keep your eye on. We'll be back with more.
Sunday night's announcement made it official for the UCA softball team. The Bears are heading to their first NCAA tournament. They'll take on the Oklahoma Sooners in the Norman Regional on Friday at 3 p.m. Those two teams actually met earlier this year. Oklahoma won that game 12-6. It's a long-awaited trip for the Bears and head coach David Kewen, who are also the oldest intercollegiate softball program in the state.
To win this on the 20th anniversary to me is just, it's amazing. It's so great for UCA, Coach Natalie Schock, who, you know, the matriarch of our program in Central Arkansas, and you know, it's great for these girls that have worked so hard and our coaching staff.
Hayden Balgavy was out at practice today. He was going to have their full story later tonight on THV 11 News at 10. UALR's new head basketball coach, Chris Beard, has finally announced his staff. Little Rock native Wes Flanagan is returning home to be an assistant coach at UALR. He is the son of legendary Parkview coach Al Flanagan and spent 4 years at Auburn, earning all SEC honors. Flanagan spent 4 seasons as an assistant at UALR from 2004 to 2008. He's returning home after coaching stops at UAB, Nebraska, and most recently at Mississippi State. The Trojans won at least 18 games in 3 of Flanagan's 4 seasons at UALR. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Well, what if I told you you could get a big dose of vitamins in just a few sips? Well, it's possible with juicing.
It's a popular trend, attracting the eye of dieters and health enthusiasts, but it takes time and commitment. Yoga instructor Amy Robertson says juicing works for her busy lifestyle.
As a mom of 2, and I'm constantly on the go, and it's just so hard to be able to get all of that food in, all of the nutrients that we really need in.
Tonight, THV 11's Macy Jenkins takes a closer look at the pros and cons, and we ask the professionals, is it really healthy? The definitive word tonight.
Is it really healthy? And is the weather really healthy right now?
At least it's not raining. You know, at least it's not raining, and that's the best news right now of all. But the rain chances do come back into play late Wednesday into Thursday. Until then, though, enjoy the dry spell. Tomorrow, though, kind of mostly cloudy and a high of 78. We do warm up, and it's a very unsettled pattern ahead. And, of course, we're still in severe weather season, so the middle of May looks to be a little bumpy for the next couple of days, next week or 2.
Got jazz lights this weekend. We got to keep that rain out of here.
It can still, it's only Monday. We'll see.
All right. Thanks for watching. We'll be back again tonight at 10. Hope you have a good one.
All I got to do is hit delete.
Hit Alt Delete,
if only it were
then
that
it's
easy.
done.
Connected to the THV Information Center 24/7 on your mobile device and with the THV 11 app for your iPad.